Welcome back to the midweek update. Hey MEPM, welcome to this week's midweek update.
Today, let's take a look at how some MEPM students' decision to return to hybrid learning and why it's important to begin returning to normal in the future.
This and more as we take a look at what's going on this week on Midweek Update. I'm Haley Epworth.
And I'm Riley Freed, and welcome back to the Midweek Update, the B&B show that brings you closer to the people and places in and around the MEPM community.
As this year has progressed, a lot of students in the district have returned to school full-time or have decided to learn from home. However, there are still some students who are using the hybrid model of learning.
B&B's Morgan Hafke got to see why some students are doing this and how it's been working out for the school.
COVID-19 has affected the way students learn in school. While some choose to go in person, there are many who find it best to continue their studies virtually. However, there are a few who make the best of both worlds and continue hybrid learning, alternating between online and in person.
Just because I think this whole pandemic has not only been obviously a health concern, a physical health concern, but I think it's also affected a lot of people's emotional and mental health as well. So if hybrid still makes someone feel more comfortable, which will allow them to be a better learner, then I think it's still necessary.
I liked the environment. I like being able to be in school some days of the week to just be able to chill with some people, but I also like the hybrid environment because it's a lot more relaxed and somewhat less stressful.
Though this option for learning can be beneficial for students, as time goes on, the amount of hybrid learners is rapidly decreasing.
We allow the students that selected that for the entire year to stay in hybrid. But we eliminated it as an in and out option because it was too difficult to manage for record keeping, for instruction, for attendance.
Whether you are fully online, fully in person, or hybrid, it is important to stay safe so that we can all learn as much as possible.
Well, I think it's all about engagement, regardless of where you are. You could be in class or you could be at home. If you're going to concentrate and engage with your teachers and really focus on what you're doing, you can do that from home or at school.
From B&B, I'm Morgan Hafke.
Thanks, Morgan. I'm glad to see there are different ways students can learn this year so everyone can be safe and feel comfortable.
Exactly. But we are starting to get closer to fully returning to normal. While some students have enjoyed learning at home, it'll be nice to have everybody back and start having in-person events again like the past.
B&B's Michelle Wolfman got to see why it's so important that we start getting back to normal and how that may happen in the future.
The high school experience is a unique one. It's an experience filled with hangouts, annoying teachers, friends, too much homework, and building connections. But due to COVID-19, many students lose this high school experience. Kayla Figueroa explained her view on online learning.
Some days it's online and it's harder to learn online, and then also in school you have the masks and the barriers and it's hard to connect with your peers. So
we all had an image on what high school would be like, and it's safe to say that it has changed. But in many ways we have learned to overcome it.
I think it's changed in ways, and I think it's also enhanced teaching to, when you think about education, I think the number one thing is trying to enhance lessons, be creative, think outside the box.
This new way of learning can be very difficult to adjust to, especially if you are used to the old high school environment. For Giovanna Barrett, her sport season has been affected greatly.
personally, I want to get a scholarship for my sports, so it's hard for colleges to come see, so I haven't gotten as many offers as I would like to get this year.
School spirit was one of the many things that made the MEPM halls lively. But with COVID restrictions, Ms. Wagner thinks the students are missing out.
The school spirit, I think that once kind of filled the halls of MEPM High School. And I do feel a lot for you guys, just missing out on the moments that make high school a milestone and memorable.
Everything that 2020 has brought us has only made us stronger, and we all changed in a way that makes us better. Yes, 2020 may have changed things, but not forever.
Thanks, Michelle. Hopefully, we can lift some of these restrictions and start getting back to our normal lives here at MEPM soon, once it is safe to do so.
But in the meantime, we've still been able to do some things like sports despite the restrictions. B&B's Sean McQuillan has your latest in Mepham sports.
The spring sports season is finally here, and as teams start up their seasons, they're getting ready to come out of the gate hot. Yesterday, boys golf had a match last night against Long Beach, the girls track team had a match, and the boys baseball team, ranked number 10 overall by NassauBaseball.com, opened their season against the MacArthur Generals. Both teams who are at the top of the conference will definitely be going back and forth for the remainder of the season. Staying on the diamond, the girls softball team will take on the Massapequa Chiefs. The Mepham girls are currently 3-1 on the season and will look to bounce back from their previous loss, which was partially broadcast by B&B Sports. It rained. Speaking of B&B Sports, B&B will have its cameras at the girls lacrosse game Saturday at 10 a.m. when they take on the MacArthur Generals. Our cameras will stay put for the 3 p.m. boys lacrosse game against Jericho, and we've got even more sports action coming to you next week. So subscribe to the B&B YouTube channel to get notifications as we go live from across the campus. For B&B, I'm Sean McClellan. Now back to Haley and Riley in the studio.
Thanks, Sean. Be sure to stay tuned to the B&B YouTube channel to catch some of the live coverage of spring sports games in the future.
And now for Midweek Updates, newest segment, we'll be sitting down with another B&B senior to talk about their time in the program in the last 4 years.
Today, we're talking to Mike Alfano, the editor of the B&B Morning Announcements. Welcome to the show, Mike. What are you working on right now?
Well, thank you for having me. Right now, I'm working on the B&B Morning Announcements, where I take all of the clips that Michelle and AJ and whoever does the weather and sports and around campus, and I put all the puzzle pieces together, and then by Thursday night, it goes to Mr. Stein, the executive producer, and he uploads it for all the teachers and classes to see. For in-class, I'm working on a package for St. Paul Drix.
So, Mike, what have these past 4 years in B&B been like for you?
Well, these last 4 years have been, a whole different experience. It's been nothing I've ever experienced before, and it's just truly an honor to be, a part of this program and meet all these wonderful people and work on all these amazing projects.
What are some of the biggest things you've accomplished during your time in the program?
Well, when I first started in B&B, I was not really, the star student. I cared about the program and I wanted to, participate, but I never really had a role until one day Mr. Stein sat down with me and offered to let me edit the morning announcements. So ever since then, I've kind of found my place, and I've worked in the control room a bit, trying to, direct and organize everything. And starting last year, Mr. Stein allowed me to start Meadow on the Street, where I edit all those clips together and try to make it as funny as possible, which those two projects together were just a blast to do.
What advice would you give to some younger students in B&B and those joining the program in the future?
I would just say to get involved. I mean, there's so many ways that you can get involved, and if you're truly passionate about this field, there's pretty much a thing for you, and if there isn't, you can make something. When I first started, there was a lot of different shows that weren't up to this day, and now because, students had the idea of making something, they came together with Mr. Stein and all other students to come together and make these fantastic shows or segments or whatever it may be. And even if you just want to learn something new, like how to edit, how to use Photoshop, there's always someone that's willing to teach you.
And lastly, Mike, what will you miss the most about B&B after this year?
I think I'll just miss just all the things that happen off the camera. There's so many fun jokes, so many fun times, so many great people that are here, and it's not like any other class. So it's always great to, make some inside jokes with friends, or, just come here just to hang out and get work done. It's just like a nice, safe environment.
Well, thank you for coming to the show, Mike. Well, that's it for this week's Midweek Update. We'll be back next week with all new stories from around the BMCHSC to bring you inside the parts of the community we don't always get to see.
And until then, I'm Haley Hepworth.
And I'm Riley Frieda, and we'll see you all next midweek.